trust,
Right.
because we feel tricked, we feel kind of fooled, and we are in a constant state of awareness, being alarmed. Are they now surveying us? Do we need to put our data? Can we put our data? What is our data used for? What always fascinated me is how they took, or how the decision making was going on. What are those parameters? What are those checkboxes that you need to check to implement a theory or model or launch something on the market? We always talk about systems, that systems are bad and broke, but the systems are built by developers. Systems are constructed. A system just doesn't pop up.
Katja Rausch is a renowned expert in swarm ethics, data ethics, privacy, and the ethics of AI. As the founder of the House of Ethics, she has dedicated her career to exploring the ethical dimensions of human-machine interaction. Katja is an independent advisor on ethics, a sought-after speaker, and an accomplished writer and author. With her extensive background including roles as a lecturer in data ethics at the Sorbonne and Paris School of Business, Katja brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to discussions on integrating ethical principles into AI and cybersecurity. I am thrilled to have her today with us, so let's start.
Well, Rima, thank you very much for this kind invitation, and it's my real pleasure to talk with you and just spread good words and good ideas.
My first question to you is, you have had quite the journey from founding the House of Ethics to teaching at the Sorbonne and Paris School of Business. If you could have dinner with any historical figure famous for their contributions to ethics, and who wouldn't be awkward at a dinner party, of course, who would it be? And what burning question about today's AI and cybersecurity would you ask them?
Well, there are many boxes to check, so not awkward, which is the hardest one to check, of course, because I think that very competent and genius people are fantastically and fascinatingly awkward. So I would choose Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla, why? Because what is going on right now, the AI race that we have, well, it runs in parallel with what we saw in the 19th century between Nikola Tesla and Edison, Thomas Edison. It was called the War of the Currents. And there was no big tech, but there was big finance behind. JP Morgan, Westinghouse. There was discrediting narratives, misinformation, propaganda on choosing direct current or alternative current, and Nikola Tesla lost. He fell into oblivion, even though we now use his product. So my question to Nikola Tesla would be, since we are in a similar situation here with transformer models that are causing harm and damaging our planet irrevocably, I would ask him, dear Nikola Tesla, what can we do to build force against the powerhouses, self-serving powerhouses, and go back to real science, which is serving the people, which is building ethical behaviors for the collectivity. And Nikola Tesla died penniless. And so that's why I really give him a lot of credit for being an ethical person.
My second question to you is, what sparked your passion for diving into the ethical swamp of AI and cybersecurity? And when the going gets tough, what keeps you motivated to untangle those tricky ethical knots?
Well, why ethics? Of course, I didn't start out in ethics. I started out in the 80s in management, in marketing, and strategy consulting. And at that time, the move from product centricity went to customer loyalty, customer centricity, client centricity. And we are still there right now. And I've been teaching for 15 years at the Sorbonne. I've been a consultant with world leaders. And what always fascinated me is how they took or how the decision making was going on.
Hmm.
What are those parameters? What are those
Hmm.
checkboxes that you need to check to implement a theory or model or launch something on the market? And mostly it was always very product focused, what we have right now, and very less, let's say, downstream client focused, even though it has been claimed like that.
Hmm.
So I became more and more interested in the impact of us consumers, of us users, of the surroundings of the products and the services. And that's ethics.
Alright.
Ethics is about, it needs to go beyond the data. It needs to go beyond systems. It needs to go beyond products. And it
Hmm.
needs to deal with how it affects us and how our behavior needs to affect our surroundings. So the hyperconnectivity of ethical grids building up and becoming effective in serving collectivities and
Hmm.
individuals.
With all the buzz around AI these days, from biased bots to privacy breaches, what do you think are the hottest ethical issues sizzling in the AI skillet right now?
Or two words: trust and safety. With what is happening right now, we are losing trust.
Hmm.
People lose trust
Right.
because we feel tricked. We
Hmm.
feel kind of fooled, and we are in a constant state of awareness, being alarmed. Are
Hmm.
they now surveying us? Do we need to put our data? Can we put our data? What is our data used for? So this constant mistrust that has
Hmm.
been built,
Hmm.
I think, is a very, very hard job for any company to shift the cursor back again to digital trust.
Hmm.
And digital trust, you can only reach it by giving us, the consumers, a sense of safety.
Right.
Are we safe? Are we
Hmm.
safe? Is it safe to? Do I feel good about it? Won't I be harmed? That's a real question. Will I put myself into a difficult or a risky situation? So, and this is the state right now, and it shouldn't be like that. And that's the role of ethics as a counter. I call it a counterbalancing power, which we all have, and that's the good news.
So, how can organizations sprinkle some ethical pixie dust on their cybersecurity strategies to make sure their use of technology stays on the straight and narrow?
If you allow me, I would answer or add two words to your questions.
Hmm.
Um, so I wouldn't use or go for ethical pixie dust. Actually, ethics needs to be embedded.
All right.
It's not a topping. It's
Hmm.
not to sprinkle up on something. That's what Sam
It needs to
Altman
be
says
ingrained.
exactly. And that's what Sam Altman, when he said, we just embedded ethics. You don't
Hmm.
embed ethics. Ethics
Hmm.
is there right from the start because it's a crucial question.
Right.
How can it benefit our users, or how can it serve the user, add value to? So we lost this kind of approaches. So ethics, and these are the questions fundamental to ethics: fairness, equity, accountability, responsibility. They need to be there at the start,
Hmm.
upstream.
Right.
So, and this is why ethics doesn't come at the end. Ethics is the DNA of your product and of your service.
Right.
Should be.
Okay, so AI is making big decisions these days: hiring, law enforcement, healthcare, you name it. How do we make sure these systems play fair and don't go rogue with biases?
Okay, this is a crucial question because in my humble view, there is a major mistake that is being made when we talk about ethics. Um, we always talk about systems, that systems are bad and rogue, but systems are built by developers. Systems are constructed. A system just doesn't pop up. A system has no intentionality. The intentionality is the one who builds the system, the developers. Right. So in this case, my question would be, what is wrong with the ethos of those who build those systems? So we need really to shift again, to move a step up and look at these people who do the harm. The system is like a proxy for doing harm, but basically it's the ones who construct it. It's the creators, and that's why we need to talk much more about accountability, about responsibility. I like transparency and explainability, of course, but before that, we need to have a closer look at their purpose, at their ways of antitrust laws, if they are compliant to all these kind of data collecting, which we now see is an industry-wide theft, what happened with OpenAI. So I call it OpenAI. I don't say ChatGPT. ChatGPT cannot do anything. It's a system. It's OpenAI who is the gangster. It's not ChatGPT, digital gangster. That's actually how Mark Zuckerberg was called several years ago by the UK, digital gangster. So we have to think about that.
So my next question is, deepfakes are getting so good it's almost scary. How should we tackle the ethical brain twisters they create, especially when it comes to misinformation and privacy invasion?
Well, deepfakes, this is like an extreme kind of system. They should simply be banned.
All right.
Should be banned, period. Because this is about faking, about lying, about tricking, about constructing lies, which can eventually harm and hurt and kill people if misused. And my real deep concern here is that, and I would like to refer to Hannah Arendt, the philosopher, who said, if everybody is lying to you, the result is not that you will believe those lies. No, no, no. The result is that nobody believes anything anymore. And that's the point. The consequence of making people distrustful. You are constantly asking yourself, suspicious. How am I now surveyed here? Why do they need my data? What will they do with my data?
Right.
And this kind of I would say risk alarming zeitgeist that is put up on us in our heads. I don't like that. And the deepfakes are really, I would say, a metaphor for this really deep fake technology, which is a meta deepfake of the deepfakes. That you could actually, which impacts us, our human heritage, and that's the crime. The human heritage is at danger with these things. They should be banned, period.
So my last question to you is, based on your experience, what future ethical challenges in data and privacy should companies start addressing now to stay ahead of the curve?
Well, when we talk about data and cybersecurity or privacy, I think what we need to do, we need to have a more panoptical view. We need to go beyond IT. We need to go beyond data, beyond privacy, and look at it from an informational, And intelligence, cyber intelligence, is more impactful than cybersecurity because it encompasses a holistic view of everything, of the system, how the system impacts the users, the stakeholders, the opportunities and harms, and who we need and what we need to do to prevent it beyond tech. And when this kind of shift happens with companies, when they really go beyond even client centricity, I call it client integration. That's what we need. We need integrations. We need integrations where we feel safe, systems where we feel safe, and systems which serve from their initial purpose communities and individuals. That's what companies, I think, need to understand, because the new generations are much more sensitive to it. They like the planet. Responsible tech is good, but I like sustainable tech too. I want my planet to stay safe. I want my friends, my family to stay safe, mentally good. And if I see a company who cares about that, and that's ethics of care, who really cares about that, I say kudos. You really have a good long-term view and not just this short-term, product-centric and probably financial benefiting perspective.
Right.
So move from, and that's really it, move from a product advantage to a consumer benefit in an ethical way. And that's really not easy, believe me.
It's not.
Because
It's not.
no, it is not, because ethics has the unfortunately the wrong aura that the more ethical you are, the less productive and the less beneficial you are, and that's not true. So we need to show companies how ethics can be revenue generating, and how you can draw profit from ethics. It's not just a hobby, but it is really something that needs to be, like you said, initially ingrained in the philosophy of any kind of company, product, service, and let's say talk and narrative.
Right. Thank you so much for such a detailed answer. I absolutely love chatting with you, and I'm sure the audience must have learned a thing or two from your interview. Thank you so much, Katja.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for having me. It was a great pleasure. Thank you so much, Rona.